Welcome back to Athletic Conceptual Training, where we spotlight elite performance, legacy building, and the minds behind the mission. Today, we're honored to welcome Dr. Rochelle Stevens, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a member of 8 Hall of Fames, an Amazon best-selling author, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. She's represented global giants like Nike, Maybelline, Johnson's Products, and Sara Lee. And her foundation has uplifted over 30,000 youths since 1990 through sports, seminars, and scholarships. It is a privilege to unpack the golden legacy of one of America's most inspiring champions. Let's get started. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, I am so excited to be here and thank you for thinking about me and letting me be a part of your number one podcast in the United States.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So let's just jump right into the questions. Let's start in Memphis. What role did your hometown play in shaping your early dreams and drives?
I started running at the age of 12 after I watched the Wilma Rudolph story. An African American woman was the first one to win 3 gold medals in the Olympics. And not knowing how much work would be involved, I was like, whoa, I want to be like Wilma Rudolph. And so my journey started with that. And my mom heard that I was racing other kids in the streets from light pole to light pole, trying to see who's the fastest. And so she enrolled me in a summer program, which was connected to the AAU Junior Olympics. And the track club was known as the Memphis Recreation Department. And from
Mm,
there, being able to have the proper training and learning the ins and outs of how to eat, how much rest to get, how to put a race strategy together.
yeah.
Because of that program, I was able to earn 20 full scholarships in track and field,
Wow.
and the rest is pretty much history. So that's how involved my city was. It was like a park commission organization. And if it was not for that program, I don't know where I would be today.
Mm. Can you take us back to the Olympic moment? What was going through your mind when you won your gold and silver medals?
Well, my first Olympics that I went to in 1992 in Barcelona, Spain, getting there and it's like, whoa, I finally made it. I am
Hmm.
finally here.
Yeah.
And to see athletes from around the world, you have over 100 countries in representation. And all I can think about is we're competing against the best athletes in the world. And I
Yeah.
am one of them. And so instead of being conceited and thinking, hey, I'm from Team USA, I know I got this, but instead, I was actually counting down how many hours I had before I raced, how many minutes, how many seconds. I was so nervous. All I can think was people will be watching the Olympics on television and everyone would know my performances before me because they're looking at it
Yeah.
live. And it was just nerve wracking. I was so nervous. And after my first race, it seemed like the butterflies and all the nerves left. And then it was back to business. But to be able to finish sixth place in the world in the 400 meters with a 50.01 or 2, 50, something like that, 50.01 at the Olympics in lane one. That was, an honor to
Yeah.
finish as the sixth fastest 400-meter athlete in the world, and then come back 3 nights later to win a silver medal as a part of the 4x400-meter relay. And my teammates were Natasha Kaiser Brown, Gwen Torrance, Gerald Miles, and myself. And that was in
Mm,
Barcelona, Spain. And winning the silver was just an amazing moment. But for some reason, everyone's like, you didn't get the gold medal. You didn't even win. I mean, what's up with that? You didn't even win the gold. So you come back home and you train even harder. And that's when the 2000 crunches and sit-ups come to play. And Instead of working out for a couple of hours, now you're working out 4 hours, 6 hours a day, because you want to prove not only to yourself, but I wanted to prove to the rest of the world that I am, you know, just as hungry and motivated to go for the gold and to
Yeah.
win 4 years later in Atlanta in 1996 in front of the home crowd. That was just super exciting, knowing that, hey, we had the advantage. It's 100 plus degrees. We knew what we was eating. We understood the language, and our friends and families were able to just drive down the street and cheer us on. And so having a home advantage is always nice.
Yes. Yes, and I can imagine having that vindication of winning after getting the silver medal and going and putting all that work in and coming back and saying, "I'm supposed to be here. Give me my accolades." Um,
Yes, yes.
you are a member of 8 Hall of Fames. What do these honors mean to you now, looking back?
Well, when you're younger and you're chasing your dream, you're chasing your goal, you're just not looking at what is going to come about all of this, the attention, the sponsorships, the endorsements, the Hall of Fames. I definitely didn't even know anything about a Hall of Fame until I got older. And so to be a member of 8 of them now, including Morgan State University Athletic Hall of Fame and Global Communications Department, the Tennessee Hall of Fame for the whole
Hmm.
state, the Amateur Sports Hall of Fame, Melrose High School Hall of Fame, the Mid Eastern Athletic Conference, known as the MEAC Hall of Fame. Just being a member of those and being recognized as one of the greatest athletes in the sport that I participate in, and being honored and recognized is a big honor. And so now that I am retired and I hang out with some of my other um, retired athletic friends that played
Hmm.
football or basketball, or when you see them, we already know our accolades. So if you have a Super Bowl ring, or you have a ring from playing, in the World Series, or if you're a world champion boxer, but when we see each other, the first thing we kind of say is, "Hey, how many Hall of Fames are you in?" And there's, "Oh, I'm in three. I'm in two. I'm in five." And then I said, "Oh, I'm in eight." And all the guys will say, "Eight? You're in
Yep.
8 Hall of Fames." And then,
Yep.
so it's like you probably made more money than I did, but right now I'm kicking your butt with these Hall of Fame accolades, and still
Right.
keeping my name and image out there by promoting Rochelle Stevens Foundation and myself.
That's so amazing. And what kind of discipline and mindset does it take to sustain world class excellence over time, both physically and mentally?
Well, I do seminars and train other athletes or groups or NFL teams, NBA teams, or high school, college teams about the mindset of a champion. And, it is 90% mental and 10% physical. That's what they say. But I really believe is the numbers does not add up. You better be 100% mentally prepared and 100% physically prepared, because you could be mentally prepared and half workout, you're still not going to be able to step up to the plate. I mean, your mindset is there, but if you didn't eat the right foods, didn't put in the right
Mm,
exercise, didn't get enough sleep, you don't have a strategy or a plan, okay, well, you're not going to be that successful. So that's
mhm.
why you have to work the body out. You got to do the right things to be prepared to be the best. And then the mindset comes where you have to believe in yourself. And someone says that champions believe in themselves, even when no one else does. So you
Yeah.
have to believe in yourself. You can't hang out with the haters, the naysayers, all the negativity. Get rid of those people, get rid of that negativity. And especially this generation, they have social media. Stay away from the social media, because most people don't have anything nice to say. And for some reason, it can bother the way you think, the way you perform, the way you respond. Stay away from it and just do what they told us to do in our day. Let your action do the talking for you. So
Yeah.
if you performing, then they will talk, but it'll be the things that you want them to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, you are definitely good at that. You've been a brand ambassador for Maybelline, Nike, Johnson's products, and Sarah Lee. How did these partnerships come to life?
My degree is in telecommunications and sales from Morgan State. And so if you're going to learn anything, you're going to definitely learn how to write. And I
Mm,
did just that by attending and graduating with my degree in telecommunications and public relations. And then later on studied public administration. Excuse me. And
mhm.
from that, it was like, it's really hard to be the best in the world. We're not talking the United States. So as a Nike athlete, the agreement and the contract is you have to be ranked top 10 in the world, not the US, the world. So you have a
Wow.
lot of athletes that's, we got it going on in the United States, but then when they start bringing the other athletes from around the world that's competing for that same contract, competing to represent the brand Nike or Adidas or Reebok or Fubu or whatever company it is, you
Hmm.
better be the best, not in your neighborhood, your state, your city, but the world. And I was
Right.
like, I need to find a company that doesn't know a whole lot about sports, but they
Okay.
want to be a part of the Olympics. They want to have their name in front of millions of people because I had the opportunity to compete and represent those companies in 50 plus countries 9 months after year competing on the European circuit. So every other day or every 2 days, I am competing at competitions that has the capacity of 35 to 55,000 fans. And then
Wow.
their meets was on Eurosport, which is like ESPN today. So even though track and field is popular, kind of sort of only once every 4 years or when they show it every now and then, but when you go to Europe, track and field is the second largest sport next to soccer. So you everybody know you're in Europe. So you're popular. You're
Yeah.
famous. You're like the NBA.
Hmm.
Um, and so those companies wanted to be able to have their name on my jersey. So to be able to have Maybelline on my jersey, that was a big deal because I wanted to be able to show that you can be beautiful and compete and
Yeah.
kick butt at the same time. Just make sure my mascara is not running and I'm gonna look like a skunk at the end of the race. So if
Man.
the mascara is not running, then people will say, you know what, she really does have on some excellent mascara because she didn't have time to go and brush it up and
Yep.
paint it up because you're live on television and the cameras are right on you. And it just made a excellent match to be able to promote the skincare products, the foundation, the lipsticks, and the especially the mascara. So to be able to promote that and that was exciting and I always like running in my sunglasses at the time. They were designer sunglasses. Okay, they weren't designers. They were fake designers. And I would race in my fake sunshades, and they'd be bouncing all around. And so when Oakley sunshades came out, then I was the first female that they signed because I was already running in
Wow.
shade.
Yeah.
And so it was easy for me to make the transition. But when Maybelline saw it, they was like, "Hey, we can't see our mascara. Can you do something about the shades?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" So I kind of built a little monster there, and
Hmm.
Maybelline actually bought out the Oakley contract so they could see their mascara. So that was really interesting and exciting. So I basically wrote all of my letters to companies. We didn't have Google search. We didn't have all this technology. Uh, you would actually call to that city and state and talk to the operator on the phone and say, "Hey, could you give me the telephone number to Johnson Products?" Then you call Johnson Products and then you talk to the secretary. "Can I get the name of the person in charge of the marketing division or the advertising division?" And then they give you the information. So it was straight sending letters for real. And
Yeah.
at that time, to be impressive, you would send it FedEx and they'd be like, "Oh wow, this must be serious. This letter came FedEx," and they will open it up, and that's how the conversation basically got started. So within my span of track and field, I end up representing over 35 Fortune 500 companies as their
Wow.
brand ambassador, which they now call NILs or
Hmm.
influencers. So I've been
Yeah.
doing this since the 1987.
Okay. The original.
The original. I'm the original NIL queen.
What advice would you give young athletes and entrepreneurs trying to land sponsorships and align with major brands?
What advice I would give to them?
Yeah.
The first advice I would give, just make sure you have yourself in order, meaning character. Are you a leader?
Hmm.
The way you carry yourself in front of others, be that positive mentor, that positive person, because they have to like you. I mean, you can be a winner, but if your attitude is not good, or if you constantly doing negative things in the press or just around your friends, no one is not going to invest into something like that. Because believe it or not, when we're competing, we don't, at least I don't, I didn't see myself as a mentor because I was still striving to be the very best in the world. And
Mm.
but other people view you in a different way. They view you as that leader, that mentor. They view you as being that superstar. Because to myself, I didn't think I was a superstar,
Yeah.
but they see you as that. And you want to just make sure you have that personality, that attitude. Be respectful, be appreciative. My mom always says it's a whole lot easier to attract something to honey versus vinegar. And if you
Yeah.
that negative person with that bad attitude, or you think someone is supposed to give you something, trust me, you might get lucky, but most likely you probably won't get it. Because if I was on that committee and I had to vote for you, I probably wouldn't vote for you either. So make sure you have yourself presentable. And then, even if you don't perform well as you would like to perform, the simple fact they like your attitude, your character, you come across classy, you're elegant, or you're handsome, or you soft spoken, or you laid back, that would keep your contract, or you'll get a bigger contract versus the person that's out there just don't care how they act because they know that they're popular.
Yeah. How did you decide which brands to align with, and how do they reflect your mission and values?
Well, what I did is I basically just looked at myself and I said, let me see what products can I push. I like my hair to look nice and attract me. So I sent letters to
Hmm.
Let's Jam Hair Products, which is still
Oh
there. And
yeah.
the local branch did pick me up. So now I'm pushing the Let's Jam Hair Products. I thought about, hey, I got pretty white teeth, at least I want to think so. So I wrote to Colgate
Hmm.
and Close Up and everything dealing with teeth whitening. I
Yeah.
just basically looked at myself and
Yeah.
said, I can promote my hands. Someone said my hands look good. So, maybe I can wear your diamond rings, or I can wear your jewelry. I can, wear your eye frames. Now I wear glasses for real, but technically I was on contract with a company here called 2001 Vision Center promoting eyewear and their
Okay.
frames. So I looked at myself as to how and what companies can I attract. One of the reasons I was doing so many crunches is because I wanted a six pack, but then our jerseys was covering it up. And you couldn't
Mm.
see how my six pack was looking. So what I did was I folded my uniform all the way up, and so you could see that I had the six pack and I was sexy while I was running.
Yeah.
And the very first contract I got was with Playboy. And so, with my
Oh.
mother being a pastor of a church, I'm like, what? I can't, I can't represent Playboy.
Right.
You know, I wanted a contract, but I didn't think Playboy would be the
Yeah.
one that would come after me. And
Yeah.
and and shortly after that, the other athletes were saying, "Hey, I want a jersey like Rochelle, hers cut off." And it was like, well, we didn't give Rochelle that jersey.
Yeah. She
We
made
don't know where she got that from.
it.
So now, Nike and everyone else is making all the jerseys kind of small like that because they wasn't like that at first.
Got it. Your book, Travel the world by foot and run like Rochelle. Hit
Mhm.
bestseller status. What inspired it? And what message do you hope readers take away?
Well, Travel the World by Foot is basically my autobiography about my travels. I'm sitting outside, and now all of a
Mhm.
sudden the pollen is hating. But anyway, I got to come up with a formula for that. But Travel the World by Foot, I had the opportunity, like I said, to travel to 50 plus countries. And it was an experience from the food, the weather, the language, the culture, and just not knowing that I would really be able to see the world like that.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I used to watch a TV show called The Price is Right. And they will always give out these trips. Say, you're going to Japan. They're like,
Yeah.
you're going to New Delhi. You're going to Rome, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to sit there with my sisters and we would bid and see who's going to win.
Mhm.
And so when I actually end up going to those countries, all I can think about was the price is right. And so I wrote about my experiences and travel the world by foot, different
Yeah.
things that happened in each country, where were my favorite places, and where I spent my birthdays because I wasn't able to come home because I was still competing in September. So I always had the opportunity to say, wow, I'm in Greece on my birthday. I am in Rome on my birthday. I'm in London for my birthday.
Yeah.
Sounded really good, but I didn't get any birthday presents. You know, my colleagues, we didn't buy no gifts for each other. And so I just couldn't be left out like that. I actually would go to the restaurant and I will order myself a cake. And I would
Mhm.
ask them to give me the smallest cake they can find and put happy birthday on there and bring it to the lobby when everybody's standing around and
Yeah.
sing happy birthday to me in your language. And
Yeah.
they would do that, but then the cake was big enough to feed everybody in the lobby. And someone would say, man, who got our cake? And everybody like, I ain't got no cake. Who got our cake? I don't know who got our cake. And I was like, oh, I'm so loud. Oh my gosh, somebody got me a cake. Oh my gosh, my friends got me a cake. Yeah, right. I got my
Right.
own cake. But
Right.
it was just an experience to be able to talk about my travels, the challenges, talk about the Olympics, uh, giving out advice as well in the book, how to prepare for competitions or just life in general, because your habits they basically follow you, and whatever your habits are, that's what your outcome end up becoming. So if you're not disciplined in life in general, then
Yeah.
you shouldn't be surprised with the things that happen to you
Yeah.
because you didn't properly prepare.
Right. I love that. I'd buy my own cake too.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
Tell us about the Rochelle Stevens Foundation. What inspired you to start it back in 1990?
To name it Rochelle Stevens Foundation, um, it just sounded like something old people do. And I was only 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of any other name. And people like foundations. I really didn't know what a foundation was. It just sounded like something little old women would sit around and raise money for. And so I named it Rochelle Stevens Foundation. And the purpose of it is because, like I said, I earned those scholarships through the summer program.
Mhm.
And then that summer program ended because the owners decided to go into real estate.
Mm.
And you left a couple of hundred kids hanging.
Yeah.
And those kids are still winning, but no one was recruiting them
Mm.
because you mainly get those scholarships, especially when you're involved with summer programs, versus high school and city championships. Because by the time you get yourself together, they have already given away all those scholarships.
Yeah.
And so now I'm looking at all of this talent working at fast food chains and warehouses because they bloomed a little late. No one didn't know anything about them. No one was able to place a phone call on your behalf. No one was able to really give you the proper guidance that you need. I mean, basketball, football, they don't have a problem with that because most of their coaches play football or they play basketball. Track, sometimes it might be just the math teacher or the science teacher. And they just got to do their job to get that extra little stipend.
Yeah.
It's a small number of people that actually participated in track and field or excelled in track and field that becomes a high school or junior high coach. So now you are, I don't know, this bee even trying to get some action on the tube. Maybe we'll come up with some off on that, right?
Yep. Yep. Get a little honey
But
scholarship, honey sponsorship.
right. So that's why I started the foundation. And what I did was I contacted the college coaches that was on the East Coast because that's where I went to school. I graduated Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, but I got along with all the coaches from Seton Hall, uh, Hampton, Delaware State, Maryland Eastern Shore, Howard University. I got along with those coaches and other coaches, of course, from Tennessee and Florida and LSU, because those are the schools that recruited me. And of course, I kept a working relationship with all the coaches because I was very appreciative. I didn't have an attitude because I didn't go to a school. I really was grateful and just stayed friends with those coaches because I thought it was an honor that they even wanted me to represent their universities. So I invited those coaches, and I still invite a lot of those coaches, including, Temple University and Tennessee State, University of Tennessee. I invite them to come to my meet or send a recruit, send a scout, send somebody to come to my meet to recruit these late bloomers or the kids that deserve to be D1 or D2 or just given an opportunity. And so since 1990, it has drawn a lot of kids. We average right at 1,000 to 1,500 kids a year. And so over 30,000 young people have been through the program. And a lot of those kids, they really need help. And so they call me and they be like, "Hey, Miss Rochelle, can you help me get a scholarship? I need a letter. I need a recommendation. Can you call? Can you this?" And it's no brainer. If you talented, you have the GPA and you're respectful, then I'll put in the phone call for you.
Yeah. Getting love
Maybe
everywhere.
she's checking to see if I was breathing. uh, so I make those phone calls, write the letters of recommendations, and I do as much as I possibly can to get you in the door, to get that scholarship for you, or at least a school visit. Sometimes you don't even have to attend my meeting if I see an athlete, especially if they're in track, and I'm like, "Oh wow, you look like an athlete." So, and then they'll tell me their recommendation, and I'm like, "Where are you going to school?" And they'll be like, "Well," and I'm like, "Do you mind?" Next thing you know, they're going on school visits, and they signing, or if you didn't have shoes, you come to my meet and you blowing people out and you got on some K-Swiss shoes or some walking shoes, them Crocs, and you out there racing, then I'm gonna take you over to the U-Haul truck and size you up with some Nikes, some brand new Nikes. Because my first pair came from the Goodwill. So see, y'all real blessed. You get $90 shoes and they're being donated. I'm not even selling them to you. So I give out shoes, tote bags, water bottles, hats, t-shirts, scholarship money. Now we're realizing that a lot of athletes really don't want to do the traditional education, 4 years of college or 5 years or 6 years for some.
Yeah.
But they can qualify to go and get an online certification.
Yeah.
They can attend a VOTEC school, or they can trade school or career colleges. So now the Rochelle Stevens Foundation has partnered with like the University of Tennessee Health Science. And so they come out to the meet and they will bring the different schools out with them. School of Nursing, Dentistry, Pharmacy, the Health Science. They're set up at the meet. Then I have Concord Career College. They specialize mainly in medical. So you can leave out as a respiratory therapist, a radiologist, a licensed practitioner nurse, um, hospital administration. These are courses where you only in school for 18 months or
Yeah.
less. And you're walking out able to get a job making 65, 85, $100,000 a year without going to a 4-year program. So I'm now in partnership with these different organizations, mainly the educational pieces and institutions, so we can make sure we encourage our young people to make themselves more marketable. Uh,
Yeah.
because if you're marketable, of course, you can get a better job,
Exactly.
and without going to school for 4 years, 7, 8 years, like I did, because everybody may not make it to the Olympics.
Right.
And like I tell the athletes when they come to my event, it is your talent that opened the doors for you, but it would be your education that would keep the doors open.
Mm.
So you want to be the best on the field. And I challenge them to be the best in the classroom as well. Because if you could be number one on the field, you could be number one in your class. Prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Show them, hey, I'm good with everything I do.
Right.
And if you treat your books like you treat your sport, you will be the best in the class. And
Man.
why not? Might as well. And so that's the purpose of the foundation. And it's called Achieving Dreams. And I give out Visa cards with my picture on them. Anyway, it's Rochelle Stevens Foundation is on there, and then an action picture of me. And it's a prepaid Visa card, prepaid MasterCard for the scholarships or for your school supplies or a laptop, computer, whatever you need. At least you have it.
Yeah.
But I used to give out checks, and we found that a lot of my athletes and their parents didn't have checking accounts or a saving account, and so they will end up at the local liquor store or grocery store
Mhm.
trying to cash the check at
Mhm.
30% interest. But the liquor store is definitely going to call me to make sure that this kid that lives in an underserved community hasn't stolen my check and
Yeah.
forging off a signature.
Right.
And every year it just hurt my heart to, confirm that, hey, they didn't forge it. Yes, I did write them the check, but now they're getting 30% of the check. That part I didn't like.
Yeah.
So I was able to land a deal with Visa and MasterCard, where now we can just give them a prepaid credit card, of course, with my picture on it,
Yep.
uh, for the scholarship. And now we don't have that challenge anymore. So I'm just happy to be able to say 35 years, because when I put this on, I could not have even imagined that I would actually still be putting on track meets, sports camps, seminars, um, any of these things. I was just doing it because someone said, hey, you need to do something, give back to the community. And so I am still
And you
giving back to
found
the
a way.
community 35 years later. And it's an honor, because
Yeah.
when you're older, you can appreciate things more. And now I am more appreciative versus, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm ranked number one in the United States and fourth in the world or sixth in the world or seventh in the world. I'm giving back. But when you get older, you really can appreciate it more in my perspective of it, because it's like, wow, I'm still doing this 35 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. I am I am just in awe at how much you've given back, and how, just I was just sitting here thinking about how many lives you probably have changed by just showing up and being there, especially in an underprivileged community where you can't touch success as easily as others, and that in and of itself is life altering, because one of the things that I feel happens is that um, like underprivileged people have the ability and the drive and the grit and determination to
Mhm.
move forward. They just don't know how to. And being able to have that mentor right there who can literally alter their life. I mean, wow. Thank you for what you do.
You're welcome, Ryan. And it's not just Memphis kids that come. They come from 7 states to compete.
Okay.
So they come from Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida. And these are clubs and teams that have been coming 20 plus years. And
Yeah.
so I get the chance to see these clubs mature, graduate kids, bring in another group of kids. Then when they retire, um, some of the kids are now young adults, meaning, 30, 35, maybe 40. And they have taken over those clubs and they still bring them to my meetings. Hey, Dr. Rochelle, I ran in your meet when I was a kid. And I
Yeah.
tell my kids, y'all got to run in this meet because this is the meet I ran in. So to hear them say that, and you're now 40 years old, or you 35, 37, and you're telling me that you got your scholarships because you ran in my track meet when you was a kid.
Yeah.
It's really it's just so amazing to hear that. I'm really touched because they believe in me, the program, and now you're bringing back your team or your kids. Hey,
Did you get it?
when did cats start walking up to you? Okay, I must have been a bougie neighborhood because this cat trying to come on my front porch. But
See
but
that
anyway,
cat
my
is,
goodness, I don't have anything for this cat. Okay.
yeah.
Anyway,
It just
back
want to
to
be in the presence of your greatness.
hey, you did say you're gonna edit. I surely hope so.
Yeah.
But if not, I think people may be entertained from listening to me.
And that's the point.
I might even be able to pick up some sponsorship, something for the meow and the bumblebee and the neighbor blowing the horn and
Right.
the
Hey.
the pollen flying in the air.
But
But anyway,
you're doing a good job.
I appreciate it. So when the kids come to my meet, the top 3 finishers walk away with a medal,
Hmm.
and fourth through sixth place receive ribbons. So a lot of them have a lot of bling bling when they leave my meet.
Yeah.
And I love my little numbers, and you got your numbers on the front, and you got your
There you
medal
go.
on, and I always tell them, like, keep up with this. So if they make the Olympic team in about 15 years, they can say, I won my very first medal at Rochelle Stevens track meet when I was 2.
Yep. So tell us
I tell parents now.
when is this track meet happening?
It's Memorial Day every year, so it's May 24th
Hmm.
at Harding Academy of Memphis on Cherry Road. And
Okay.
the opening ceremony will start at about 9 o'clock. I tell folks 8:30, they'll get there at 9, right?
Yep.
But the opening ceremony, we march in with the sponsors, some of the future Olympians. We have other real Olympians that come and visit.
Yeah.
Some of my professional friends that played in the NBA or NFL, they all march in, and I'm able to introduce them as champions of their sport because we all started the same way. As kids with a
Yeah.
dream, we worked hard, we stayed focused, we stayed out of trouble, and we made it happen. And
Yep.
just let them be able to actually see other people that's been where they want to go. And so the opening ceremony consists of that, and all of my wonderful sponsors. And we have drummers, and we have a drum line, we have the
Mm.
national anthem. I mean, it's a whole little production. It just would just be turned up, as somebody say. It's not crunk anymore. It's turned up, turned, I guess, whatever the new word is. We turned at Rochelle Stevens Invitational Track Meet. Is because when you get there, you feel like you almost at a football game because you're hearing the drums. He's like, whoa,
Right.
this a track meet. And when the drums are not playing, you got the DJ, and he's playing the music between the
Mm.
rounds. So you got folks out there, and they line dancing, and we got to add that other little country bunking song. Where the fans at?
Yeah.
What, I don't even know how they do it, but I'm gonna have it down packed by then. But anyway,
Hey,
we'll probably play that too. But so that way you're not really bored at the meet. The vendors
yeah.
are set up. They're giving. We don't really sell anything at my meet, so you getting your Gatorades, your waters, and things free. Can't have
Hmm.
folks passing out. That's the purpose of the
Yeah.
sponsor, to be a blessing to others. So
Yes.
that's what Rochelle Stevens Invitational Track Meet is all about. If you are anywhere near here, just go to my website, RochelleStevensFoundation.com, and
Yes.
pre-register or just show up to be a spectator. Again, it's Rochelle Stevens Foundation.com.
There you go. This is an event not to be missed. If you are in the Memphis area, you have to attend this and go meet Dr. Rochelle Stevens. Get yourself in the presence of some true greatness and get some of that knowledge oozed off onto you. And then also check out our future athletes that are up and coming and support them and help champion their future along with Dr. Rochelle. Um, if this conversation with Dr. Rochelle Stevens inspired you, subscribe, share, and support the mission. Follow her journey, check out her foundation, and let's all continue to go for the gold. Until the next time, everybody, stay powerful. Dr. Stevenson, thank you for taking some time to give us a little snippet of your accomplishments and your upcoming track meet. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Okay.
me.
Of course, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get the link for Dr. Rochelle's website in the description and bio to this video so that you guys can go on and check out her and what she has to offer. This is Ryan from Athletic Conceptual Training. We'll see you soon.
Hey guys, this is Ryan from Athletic Conceptual Training. We're serving the Livermore area and we really want to partner with you. Students, if you're ready to get better in basketball, volleyball, tennis, come and check us out. Look at our Instagram. We have a lot of content and we got more coming. We're one of the fastest growing company in the Bay Area and there's no other place to be. Parents, if you really want to unlock the potential of your student athlete, come and partner with us. Or if you yourself want to come out and get some training with Coach Ryan, don't hesitate. All you have to do is click the link below. Unlock your fullest potential. Be ready. Get up, act today. Let's see you soon.